This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. You chose to be here. This is not by accident that you're here now and in this program. You want to take your performance to the highest level. You want to dominate. You physically work hard. Now that's important. Mentally, we're going to prepare you to have the kind of success that's available to you. Not just for some, but for you to live it fully. You can do it too. Enjoy this journey. This program is your secret weapon. Be a Beast on Nelson Radio.
This is our Be a Beast series right here on AM 830 with my co-host Dave Austin, professional performance coach. You can reach us direct 888-888-2136 or click through at extremefocus.com or simply text the word BEAST to 313131. Dave, we can't make it any easier. I'm so excited to have Bill Bartmann coming up in this segment. And Bill has that system for success or the system for dealing with failure. And I just want to showcase this. It's the formula: higher self-esteem, less concerned about what others think, less afraid of failing, less fearful of taking risks. And that all leads to greater opportunity to succeed. It's sequential. One leads to the other.
The patron saint of the second chance.
The patron saint of the second chance. We're going to find out more about that.
How you use failure to succeed.
And so with that, Bill Bartmann, welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Dave Nelson. It's good to be with you.
So how do you like that? The patron saint of the second chance. You got to tell us more about that.
Well, thank you. And let me tee this up appropriately because you talked about billionaire and success. And yes, I'm extremely proud of all the good work all of my great employees do to make all that happen. But I really want to spend some time today talking about failure and being on the wrong side of the tracks, because that's where everybody needs the help. You don't need help when you hit 9 zeros. You need help when you're at 1 0. And so this conversation today, if we could just focus on what goes wrong, what goes bump in the night, what kind of problems do we all face, and how do we deal with those issues and problems, that's what I'd love to do, because you were so kind to remember that Inc. magazine called me the patron saint of the second chance. And guys, that's because I've had so many second chances myself, which means I needed a second chance. If I had succeeded in the first chance, if I had done it right the first time, if everything had been perfect, if I had been so doggone smart that I got it right, I wouldn't have needed a second chance. But we all need second chances. And fortunately for me, I've had second chances. And that's what I think everybody on this call needs to come to grips with, is we're going to want and need second chances. And when they show up, we should take advantage of them and take that opportunity to be better the second time than we were the first time.
Let me ask you about that, because we've all had that spill onto the asphalt and come up with a big raspberry going, that stings. But first person, give us an example of something that you've experienced where you've worked your way through that.
My life has been about those kind of moments, growing up in a family of 8 kids on welfare and poverty, and leaving home when I was 14 and living on the street and eating out of a dumpster. That probably qualifies for not a good life. And then moving up and finally getting a GED and getting into college, and then applying to 47 law schools and getting rejected by all 47 of them. So Nelson, when you were talking in the last segment about your wife sometimes and some other things that go on in life where it just doesn't work the way you wanted, I applied to 47 law schools and got rejected by all 47 of them. And thank God I applied to number 48 and got accepted, then graduated and went on and became a lawyer. And you know the rest of the story of making some money. But it's about dealing with the crap that happens in your life. And every one of us, we have those moments where, whether it's our fault or somebody else's fault, doesn't make any difference. Things happen that we have to go deal with. So when Dave was talking about being in that moment, it is the moment of looking forward. It's not the moment of looking backwards. It's not trying to blame somebody. It's not trying to come up with an excuse. Instead, it's looking forward and dusting yourself off and, putting a Band-Aid on that raspberry you just talked about, Nelson, and saying, I can't change what just happened, but I can change what I'm about to go do. And that's where the magic is.
You're listening to Bill Bartmann on Be a Beast. You can reach us direct 888-888-2136 or click through at extremefocus.com.
Hey, Bill, I love the fact that one of the big clues here for you and for these listeners to hear is that failure doesn't always mean, it doesn't have to mean the end. You've used, in getting to know you, every time you've hit a road bump, call them whatever, a brick wall, whatever you want to call it, you've advanced. You've said, this is what I'm going to do. This is what it's going to keep me motivated to keep going forward. Tell me, you were living on the street. Didn't you even get involved in gangs at one time? What an example of someone who, give us a little bit of that from that start.
Sure. I was one of 8 kids, and we grew up in a pretty dysfunctional family, and I don't say that in a bad way to my parents. I think they loved us as much as they knew how. They just didn't know how very well. And so at 14, I left home, and I didn't run away, and they didn't throw me out. I just left. It was that kind of a home life where you could just walk out and leave, and nobody went after you. Nobody said, oh, gee, let's have an Amber Alert for Bill. No, it was, I left. And I went out and lived on the street, ate out of a dumpster, did odd jobs, did everything, and ran away and joined a traveling carnival. Did that for 2 full years. And for the 2 years that I was a carny from 14 to 16, I learned a whole bunch of things that a 14-year-old boy shouldn't have to learn. And by 16, Dave, I decided I was going to upgrade, and I joined a street gang. And it wasn't the Hells Angels. It wasn't, anything quite that notorious. But for where I lived in that community, it was finally, for the first time in my life, a group of people actually had my back in a good way. And it was something that you don't look back at with pride and say, oh, gee, you're a drunk, you're a high school dropout, you're a gang member. I was a loser with a capital L, but fortunately for me, second chances do show up. And so no matter how bad your first chance was, the second chance has an opportunity to be just absolutely a skyrocket for you.
And here's where I want you to stay with us just for a couple more minutes. I have a question that I've got to ask you, and the listeners have to hear. You're listening to Be a Beast on Nelson Radio with performance coach Dave Austin and myself, Nelson, business leader and professional coach. 888-888-2136. Click through at extremefocus.com or simply text the word BEAST to 313131. And Bill, I just wanted to tee up again that being at the summit, the top of the peaks, down to the valley floor, and then back up, you've had all sorts of those examples, those testimonies in your life. But I want you to share with us the community, which is really what describes the Meerkat, the community of people that surrounded you through that journey.
Well, absolutely. I'm happy to do that. And from peaks to valleys, I have been the 25th wealthiest person in America. I have also been the 25th brokest person in America. Mm-hmm. So trust me, I've seen both ends of that extreme. And my community is an ever-evolving group of people, but it starts with 3 basic principles: faith, family, and friends. And irrespective of your religious beliefs, you can have faith of whatever kind, size, shape, color you happen to subscribe to, and I don't care. I'm not here to encourage somebody to go one direction or another, but acknowledge that you have some, because that's going to help you during that moment of second chance. And family, obviously, the more of those people that are around you, the better and the easier it is for you to absorb the losses and suffer through the trauma of whatever the failure might have been, because these are people that love you in spite of that. They don't care the fact that you failed. And true friends, maybe you end up with only one. In 2002, I went through a most severe challenge of my entire life, and that year I received one Christmas card, one. And I carry that Christmas card with me every single day of my life. It's in my briefcase right now as we speak today. And I on that day, I had one friend. Now, some people say, well, gee, Bill, didn't you used to have thousands of friends, and shouldn't we measure how many you lost? I say, no, measure how many I still had.
Half glass or half full, that makes total sense.
Oh, absolutely. My glass is always full. It's half water, half air, but full.
Bill, thanks for staying with us. And that's exactly what the theme of our show is with Be a Beast, improving your performance, whether it's financially in the boardroom, with your jobs, at home, in the locker room. That's what we're about. 888-888-2136. Stay with us. We've got Roger coming out of the bush. Do you ever want a secret weapon? Be a Beast training video is your weapon. From the locker room to the boardroom, success is not by accident. Performance is not by chance. You want to get your mind right? Perform at the highest level? Dominate your marketplace? Be a Beast training video is the answer. Mentally, we're going to prepare you to have the kind of success that's available for you to live it fully. You can do it too. The Be a Beast training video is your secret weapon. 888-888-2136. Let me say that again. 888-888-2136 or text BEAST to 313131.